OCN Volume 26 Number 1, January 3, 2026 Highlights. This podcast presents concise summaries of each of the articles and columns in this issue of OCN in the order they appeared in the paper. For details, please refer to the articles and columns, which are posted at ocn.me. The Palmer Lake Board of Trustees held a December workshop to interview candidates for a vacant seat, appointing Tony Beltran after Catherine Keeley did not attend. Beltran emphasized growth, tax revenue, natural resources, civic duty, rebuilding public trust, and preserving small-town values as his priorities. At a later meeting, Trustee Tim Caves and Town Attorney Scott Krob resigned, and the board moved to settle a lawsuit with integrity matters while grappling with annexation election timing. The board also amended the 2025 budget, approved the 2026 budget and related appropriations, and split the water fund into separate water operating and water capital funds. Beltran's appointment to fill Hudson's seat would last until the November 2026 coordinated election, while Caves explained his resignation as a response to ongoing divisiveness and recalls. Krob announced his resignation as town attorney, citing professional concerns and a desire for a stable transition, and noted his long-standing municipal and water law experience. During the meeting, the board approved settling the Integrity Matters lawsuit by having SRSA drop its cost recovery claim in exchange for IM waiving its right to appeal the dismissal. They also debated whether to seek a declaratory judgment on the annexation timing, ultimately directing the issue to court for a decision. The 2025 budget amendment and the 2026 budget package also moved forward, with adjustments to fund management and anticipated interest income increases from new reserve transfers. On December 12, Trustee Mike Boyett resigned for health-related reasons stemming from the stress of service. The board will reconvene for meetings on January 8 and 22 to continue addressing governance, budgeting, and annexation-related questions. Takeaway: Palmer Lake is experiencing leadership changes and ongoing debates over fiscal management, annexation timing, and how to best serve the town's growth while preserving its character, with new appointments and resignations shaping the board's direction. The Monument Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the 2026 official zoning map after a brief staff presentation and a public hearing with no comments from citizens. Planning Director Dan Ungerleider explained that the map incorporates all annexations, rezonings, subdivisions, and boundary changes from the past year, and he credited GIS specialist Connie Dreger for maintaining the mapping system that supports decision-making and public access. The map will go to the Town Council for approval on January 5. Commissioners asked a few questions about the Old Denver Road annexation and potential future zoning changes from forthcoming comprehensive plan updates, with Ungerleider noting the annexation clarifies maintenance responsibilities and may aid future incorporation efforts, while development activity will likely drive incremental map changes over time. During the meeting, longtime Commissioner Danny Ours announced his early resignation to join the town's new Economic Development Committee, and commissioners acknowledged Kathy Green's departure and thanked both for their service. The town plans to finalize the 2026 Planning Commission roster in January, with a joint Town Council Planning Commission session tentatively set for January 14. Recruitment continues for 2 alternate seats and 1 full commission seat, and the commission will reconvene at its next meeting on January 14 to continue advising the Town Council on land use and development issues, with meeting details and recordings available to the public. Monument Town Council discussions on December 1 focused on fiscal planning, infrastructure, and resident concerns, with Mayor LaKine stressing transparent governance and public participation. Planning officials sought approval for the Santa Fe Business Park final PUD on 10 acres near Baptist Road and Old Denver Road, addressing building height, square footage, and bay openings, with a continuance approved to give the applicant time to address issues. The Planning Department continued updating the Land and Building Code, including ADUs under House Bill 24-1152, and the Council unanimously approved Ordinance 23-2025 related to ADU wording, along with several building code ordinances. The Council reviewed the 2026 budget, highlighting funding for public safety, road maintenance, and parks, and considered proposed road and intersection upgrades to improve traffic flow and pedestrian safety, while committing to regular progress reports and prioritizing school and high-traffic areas. Residents raised concerns on traffic, snow removal, downtown parking, and local business support, prompting discussions on improved municipal services and ongoing community engagement, as the council moved to further study land development plans along Old Denver Road and approved ongoing refinements to noise and short-term rental regulations. Conclusion: The meetings laid groundwork for balanced growth with attention to fiscal prudence, infrastructure, public safety, and community input, aiming to preserve Monument's small-town character while expanding services and amenities. The Lewis Palmer D38 Board held a special meeting on December 2 to elect officers, swear oaths, and sign confidentiality affidavits, with Patty Schenck serving as Chair Pro Tem, Ron Schwartz as President, Schenck as Vice President, Tim Bennett as Treasurer, and Ginger Schaaf as Secretary. Todd Brown was named Director. A regular meeting followed on December 15, including an executive session about safety and security. District schools were closed on December 16 due to an unspecified threat, with staff working remotely and a rapid return to operations the next day. Recognition highlights include several District 38 students chosen for the Colorado All-State Choir and LPHS teacher Jackie Schatz receiving SHAPE APE Teacher of the Year, along with other awards for students and staff from Harbor Freight Tools. Board priorities focus on valuing staff, fiscal stewardship, and open communication, with updates on retention efforts, recognition programs, surveys showing strengths and areas for improvement, and plans to improve compensation, budget transparency, and resource allocation. The board approved a partnership with Eastern Colorado Bank for capital lease financing and updated policies on tobacco-free schools and student activities funds, including establishing separate deposit accounts for activity funds and using district funds for comprehensive student programs. Additionally, the board approved the 2025 mill levy at 6 mills, noting the district's assessed value exceeded $1 billion, and adjusted meeting dates to accommodate holidays, with a January 2026 meeting moved to January 26 and a potential February 17 meeting cancelled in favor of a single February 10 session. Conclusion: the December actions reflect leadership changes, safety responses, student and staff recognitions, financial and policy updates, and calendar adjustments, all aimed at sustaining district operations and supporting staff, students, and community oversight. The Monument Academy Board discussed its current credit rating, noting a BB rating influenced by refinancing timing and enrollment, which affects borrowing costs and investor options. Board members explained MA plans to refinance its 2019 bonds within the next 30 to 60 days and proceed with the track and field project, starting with a first tier that includes the track, field, and a compliant press box, followed by a second tier for bleachers and lights funded by a capital campaign. A contract to move the track and field design into construction was approved unanimously, with R.J. LaForge of Wember Incorporated serving as owner's representative and Brian Risley of CRP Architects as the project architect. Capturing Kids' Hearts, presented by Mark McKinney, is being used to build leadership and school culture at MA, with claims of improved connection, discipline, and teacher retention based on CKH surveys and the program's Excel framework. CKH has been implemented at the elementary and middle school levels and is expanding to the high school, which MA leaders say aligns with the district's vision of security, character, connection, growth, and excellence. The board recognized a high school Turning Point USA Club America group, acknowledging student leaders who planned a 5K to honor Charlie Kirk and presenting each student with certificates. Policy updates were approved in several areas, including staff decision-making, contracts and compensation, overtime, fringe benefits, and the meet and confer status, while a related policy on instructional materials was tabled for deeper discussion in January. Updates and highlights from the meeting noted enrollment activity, fundraising plans, and financial actions, including a mid-year budget showing a deficit that is smaller than projected thanks to adjustments and anticipated refinements, with a final budget review planned for January. In conclusion, the board highlighted ongoing growth initiatives, CKH implementation, and financial planning as MA advances its track and field project and school improvements into the new year. The Donala Water and Sanitation District finished its 2026 budget process, set fees and mill levies, appointed a DWSD representative to the Loop Water Authority, discussed security upgrades, and planned to search for a new general manager. The 2026 budget includes 5% rate increases for water and sewer, with operating and administrative expenses projected at $7.1 million and debt service at $751,000, while capital projects are expected to cost about $1.8 million and total revenue is estimated at $11.6 million. Mill levies were set, 21.296 mills for the bulk of the district and 10.648 mills for 6 properties near Stuthurst Loop that receive only water service from DWSD, with both levies approved unanimously. Director William George was appointed to represent DWSD on the Loop Water Authority Board, replacing Jeff Hodge, who is on paid administrative leave, while Christina Hawker will remain a second DWSD representative and Cade Pennington will be the alternate. In other business, the board debated security upgrades and authorized Hawker to obtain an upgrade plan with 2 quotes, noting a recent alarm event, EPA compliance needs, and a potential cost range from $47,000 to $150,000. The meeting also covered operational reports, such as potential grant reimbursement for Well 7D, a ranch trespass issue near Willow Creek Ranch, manganese reporting concerns, and routine treatment plant maintenance, ending with an executive session about a water court case. The next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, January 15 at 1:30 p.m., with details available through DWSD's website or by phone. The Triview Metropolitan District held public hearings on the 2026 utility rates, fees, and the 2026 budget, and ratified an agreement with PFM Consulting LLC. A rate forecast was presented for water and wastewater services, followed by approval of Resolution 2025-15 to set 2026 rate tables, with details available in the district's December newsletter. The 2026 budget aims to increase cash reserves, advance the Higbee Road widening project, offer strong employee benefits with a 3.5% COLA, invest in equipment, maximize renewable water use, maintain facilities, complete the district's operations building, participate in NMCI, and pursue infrastructure projects like a roundabout at Jackson Creek Parkway and Lyons Tail Road. The board also approved the property tax debt service mill levy of 13.5 and the operations mill levy of 7, totaling 20.5 mills, along with related measures including administrative resolutions, an amended contract with FLMD, an audit engagement letter, an MVEA undergrounding work order, an easement with Stonewall Springs Reservoir Company, and an agreement with PFM Consulting LLC for real property matters. Water operations showed Northern Delivery System delivering roughly 69% of the district's water in November and expected to do so in December, with a small amount of non-revenue water, while a water storage tank project at Plant B remains on hold until spring 2026. In an executive session, the board discussed water matters, TOM agreements, NMCI funding timelines, and related negotiations, per Colorado law. The next regular meeting is scheduled for January 15 at 5:30 p.m., and meeting details are available on the district's website. The Woodmoor Water and Sanitation District held a December public hearing on 2026 rates and concluded the budget hearing from the prior meeting, while also renewing its contract with the Chilkat Ditch Company and considering supplemental water service for a new Monument Fire District station. During the rate hearing, the district announced increases for water and sewer taps of 10% and 3%, respectively, with base water and sewer charges rising 7% and 5%, while the renewable water infrastructure fee stays at $40 per month. In the budget discussion, District Manager Jesse Schaefer noted 2026 expected revenue of just over $14 million and expenditures of $19.5 million, needing about $5.4 million from reserves, with total reserves projected at $18.5 million by year-end 2026, and the board approved 2 resolutions setting 2026 rates and adopting the budget. Monument Fire District requested 2.7 acre-feet per year of supplemental water at $34,500 per acre-foot per year, and the board asked Schaefer to draft an agreement for later approval. The Chilkat Ditch Company contract was renewed without changes, maintaining WWSD's role in management and ditch rider services as part of the Loop Water Reuse Project. Woodmoor Ranch revegetation, managed by contractor Paul Flack, was nearly complete with 98% of the land restored to native grasses. The remaining 2% could not be revegetated due to high water tables and natural runoff. Flack plans to prepare a formal report to a water judge, and a thank you note highlighted his strong work and suggested honoring him with a named warehouse at the ranch. Operational updates described ongoing Loop Water Reuse Project work, including a preliminary design for a water treatment facility and anticipated completion of pipeline and pump design in January, with plans to expand the Calhoun Reservoir and coordinate access with the Sundance Pipeline. The meeting closed with a short executive session to discuss potential legal agreements with LWA and MFD, after which no action was taken, and the district announced its next meeting for January 12 at 1 p.m. at the district office. The Monument Sanitation District Board approved the 2026 budget and the 2026 rates and fees, with the only changes to the fee schedule being higher lien filing and certification fees to cover El Paso County's processing costs. The budget projects a starting fund balance of $934,000, about $1.37 million in income, $2.31 million in expenditures, and an ending balance of roughly $976,000. The public hearing closed without comments. During the meeting, the board approved Resolution 12172025-1 for the budget and noted that a 5% salary increase was included in the budget but would be decided later, as part of a separate discussion on compensation and potential cost of living adjustments. Director Shannon Clark abstained from the vote on the budget resolution due to insufficient information, while the rest of the board voted in favor. On compensation, Board member Dan Hamilton and Director Clark reviewed pay levels at comparable districts and pushed to align MSD's compensation more closely with those benchmarks by March, noting the current use of bonuses was unusual. Hamilton proposed a 3% cost of living increase for Parker starting January, plus $1,000 for Parker and $750 for Alsop as cash gifts to maintain continuity with past practices, and the board unanimously supported those moves as a step toward restructuring compensation away from bonuses. Conclusion: the district moves forward with a balanced 2026 budget and adjusted compensation plans, aiming for greater alignment with peer districts while maintaining stable lien-related fees and a measured approach to wage adjustments. The next meeting is January 21st, with details available on the district's website. The El Paso County Regional Loop Water Authority Board discussed the possibility of hiring an executive director to handle day-to-day operations, with plans to relieve directors who already balance full-time district roles. The idea envisions the executive director as the loop's first employee to manage coordination of contractors, calls, and meetings for a busy 2026. Several directors supported the move, while one member suggested keeping design committee staffed for continuity. A draft job posting and salary range of $145,000 to $185,000 were discussed, with a note to avoid using American Recovery Plan Act funds to prevent added regulatory burdens. William George was welcomed as the replacement for Jeff Hodge on the Loop Board, representing the Donala Water and Sanitation District, though he was excused from the December meeting due to travel. Hutchinson provided updates on the geotech drilling plan and Burns and McDonnell designs, noting a $119,000 addition for 12 soil bores and a 30% completion milestone for the pumps and pipelines design by January 22. From reported November invoices totaling $123,000 and a $138,000 reimbursement from the El Paso County Board of Commissioners, with 21% of the 2025 budget spent to date. The board unanimously approved posting the executive director position and accepted FROM's financial report, with the next meeting scheduled for January 25 at 9 a.m. at Monument Town Hall. The El Paso County Regional Loop Water Authority Board discussed the possibility of hiring an executive director to handle day-to-day operations, with plans to relieve directors who already balance full-time district roles. The idea envisions the executive director as the loop's first employee to manage coordination of contractors, calls, and meetings for a busy 2026. Several directors supported the move, while one member suggested keeping design committee staffed for continuity. A draft job posting and salary range of $145,000 to $185,000 were discussed, with a note to avoid using American Recovery Plan Act funds to prevent added regulatory burdens. William George was welcomed as the replacement for Jeff Hodge on the Loop Board, representing the Donala Water and Sanitation District, though he was excused from the December meeting due to travel. Hutchinson provided updates on the geotech drilling plan and Burns and McDonnell designs, noting a $119,000 addition for 12 soil bores and a 30% completion milestone for the pumps and pipelines design by January 22. From reported November invoices totaling $123,000 and a $138,000 reimbursement from the El Paso County Board of Commissioners, with 21% of the 2025 budget spent to date. The board unanimously approved posting the executive director position and accepted FROM's financial report, with the next meeting scheduled for January 25 at 9 a.m. at Monument Town Hall. The article covers recent activity in El Paso County planning and development meetings, including several subdivision final plats and rezoning requests. First, the JJ Ranch subdivision at 10155 Hardy Road sought final plat approval, with the Planning Commission recommending approval ahead of a public hearing at the Board of County Commissioners meeting. Next, the Gleneagle View final plat would combine 3 tracts into one commercial lot near Northgate and Struthers Roads, with staff reporting all documents filed and the Planning Commission recommending approval for a BOCC hearing. The Hidden Creek Rezone, formerly 3405 Hay Creek Rezone, requests a switch from RR5 to RR2.5, and the Commission also supports approving final plat filing 2 for 6 residential lots with a waiver to allow a private road in place of a public road, with the BOCC hearing set for January 8. Additionally, the Sky Vista subdivision near Stepler Road received final plat approval after a public hearing, featuring 13 lots with well, septic, and public roads, and the Planning Commission staff recommendation aligned with the BOC's subsequent approval on December 15. Finally, the Board of Adjustments addressed a variance request for an accessory structure at 4675 Red Forest Road, and the Board of Commissioners approved consent agenda items involving memoranda of agreement and temporary construction easements related to Highway 105B, with notes about ADARP and contact information for local planning offices. Conclusion: the county is moving forward with several subdivision developments, rezonings, and related easements, with multiple approvals anticipated or already granted and ongoing opportunities for public input. As the year turns, many people set resolutions for 2026, and this list suggests books that can support mind, body, or spirit on that journey. Wintering by Catherine May invites embracing difficult times and learning from emotional retreat, viewing life as cyclical rather than linear. The Book of Hope by Jane Goodall and Douglas Abrams argues that hope requires action, and small, purposeful deeds can make a real difference. We Can Do Hard Things by Glennon Doyle, Abby Wambach, and Amanda Doyle offers a guidebook for navigating life's big questions with shared wisdom from diverse voices. Meditations for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman encourages accepting our imperfections and focusing on what truly counts amid daily challenges and distractions. The Comfort of Crows by Margaret Renkel is a year-long literary devotional that invites noticing nature and finding beauty in small, radiant moments. How to Winter by Carrie Leibovitz uses mindset science to help readers embrace winter and apply its lessons to mental well-being year-round. Stretching, 40th Anniversary Edition by Bob and Jean Anderson provides practical, illustrated stretches to improve posture and physical ease, including tech neck and computer use. Not Too Sweet by Jessica Seinfeld offers dessert recipes that accommodate gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free, and low-sugar needs, so you can still enjoy treats. Always Remember by Charlie Mackesy features a small fable about friendship and resilience, reminding readers that hard times aren't permanent and support is available. In closing, the piece encourages turning to these books for guidance, growth, and comfort as you begin 2026, and wishes readers a healthy year ahead. Regularly occurring programs resume in January, starting with story time on Tuesdays for ages 3 to 7 and their caregivers. Toddler time for ages 1 to 2 runs on Wednesdays, with sessions in the morning, followed by Socrates Cafe, an adult discussion group, every Tuesday afternoon. Pause to Read returns on Tuesdays, offering children a chance to practice reading with therapy dogs, and the Teen Advisory Board meets on Thursday evenings to build leadership skills and shape library programs. A special kaleidoscope crafting program for ages 5 to 12 is set for Friday, January 9th, inviting kids to explore light and sound through hands-on design. Teens ages 13 to 18 can learn mosaic art in celebration of Colorado's 150th anniversary, with a session on Monday, January 12th, requiring prior registration. Device drop-in help on January 15th provides a no-registration opportunity to get help with laptops, smartphones, tablets, and the library catalog. The Teen Dungeons & Dragons group gathers January 15th for a session open to new and returning players, with space limited and registration required. Homeschoolers can attend Terrific Tangrams on January 21st, blending math, storytelling, and art for ages 5 to 12, while a book swap on January 24th invites adults to trade recent fiction and non-fiction titles. A series of open houses marks Colorado's and the nation's anniversaries, with passport stamps and prizes to collect across library locations throughout 2026. Note that the library will be closed January 16th for staff training and January 19th for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and information about ongoing events can be found via the library's contact channels. January can be a good time to start long-season plants, whether indoors or outdoors, especially if roots need time to establish underground before spring growth. A practical method is the zip bag technique, using gallon freezer bags, potting soil, water, and seeds, with the key being barely moist, fluffy soil that holds together loosely to support seed germination and microbial activity. Cinnamon is highlighted as a natural soil and plant treatment, acting as a safe fungicide, deterring pests, and helping prevent damping off by applying lightly to the soil surface and ensuring good airflow and proper watering. The guidance emphasizes using cinnamon as a preventive measure in winter, not as a cure-all, and to avoid applying it directly to roots or overly damp conditions that can hinder growth. In summary, starting seeds with minimal moisture in zip bags and using cinnamon to support soil health are presented as practical, natural approaches for a lazy gardener seeking simple, year-round gardening success. Gen Z, born 1997 to 2012, is poised to shape the future of art and culture through a preference for experiences, live engagement, and artist-led activities like workshops and gallery visits. They are the art collectors of the future, blending traditional art with digital forms and even artificial intelligence, while valuing financial prudence, job stability, and purpose-driven work over impulse buying. A U.S. government report shows Gen Z and millennials have the highest arts participation, with Gen Z particularly drawn to digital art, film and video art, and diverse collectibles, alongside buying shifts from digital platforms to traditional venues. WokeWaves magazine notes that constant digital input from platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok accelerates their creative development and broadens audience reach without traditional gatekeepers, contributing to a more online, interconnected art market. Experts project the online art market to reach about $17.76 billion by 2030, fueled largely by Gen Z engagement, signaling a resilient and evolving creative landscape that benefits artists and culture alike. Takeaway: Gen Z's mix of experiential values, digital fluency, and social awareness is driving a shifting art world toward new formats, platforms, and opportunities for creative expression. El Paso County has launched a new property protection program to alert property owners if a document is filed using their name, helping to prevent fraudulent deed transfers and real estate scams. Owners can register multiple name variations and household members, and the program currently monitors filings only after enrollment, with plans to expand coverage in the future. Residents can also review property records in person at the county clerk and recorder's office, and more information or registration is available on the PPP webpage linked in the article. Trail markers will be placed in Fox Run Regional Park to guide visitors and protect the forest ecosystem, especially in snowy or icy conditions when trails are harder to see. Palmer Lake imposes parking restrictions when snow accumulates and requires vehicles to be moved from streets, with details available on the town's parking page. Property owners in Palmer Lake must keep the area between the sidewalk and the gutter clear of snow and debris within 24 hours after snowfall, with specific areas excluded from clearing. Colorado's winter safety notes include handling black ice carefully and following the traction law from September 1 to May 31, allowing tire socks as an alternative to chains under certain conditions. Colorado also enforces strict school bus safety rules, and some districts use stop-arm cameras to catch drivers who illegally pass stopped buses, while Academy School District 20 uses such cameras to enhance safety. Additionally, resources are listed for car seat inspections, accessibility through the El Paso County Trailability Program, Tri-Lakes Cares donation needs, the Black Forest Log School fundraiser, and Larkspur Church's Food Bank and Care Center. Thank you for joining us for highlights from the articles and columns from this issue of OCN. To dive into the full articles and columns or explore more content, visit ocn.me. Don't miss out, sign up for our community newsletter to stay updated with every new post.